Cruiserweights, Bruiserweights, don't forget about Tyler Bate. It is the UK Championship special. It is here, it is now, it is next.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
There it is. It is the year 2017 where we get two so far United Kingdom Championship specials on the WWE Network and covered here on AFTERBUZZ TV. I'm your host, breaking it down for you, at Steve Kaufmann. That's on Twitter, at Steve Kaufmann, K-A-U-F-M-A-N-M, but I am not alone. I'm with my esteemed colleagues, starting to my immediate left.
Hey everybody, I'm Anissa Barr. You guys could find me at Anissa Barr with 3 R's at the end. And I'm very excited. I really enjoyed the UK tournament special. I didn't see the original UK tournament, but this one had me really pumped.
And to her immediate left.
I'm Steamy, and you can find me, Estemy. I am Estemy at Mark Donica. Find me on Twitter at Mark Donica. This was a wonderful follow-up, and I'm excited that we have more UK, and this seems to be just the tipping point of what's coming next.
I think that's what's the best about a special like this, that first off, it's 4 matches, and I've yet to read people like outright complaining, oh, it wasn't worth the 90 minutes. Where it's everything I've read, it's like, no, that's absolutely worth it, because they were advertising the takeover match that tips their hat to the 2 of the 4 matches immediately, and that didn't seem to matter to me or anyone I talked to about this or read about this special, where it's just like, no, these guys get to go. It's really special and cool. These guys get to go.
Special, not only in name. But I will say, one of the things that has been... They're still trying to introduce all of these guys to the wider WWE audience, so that's why we get the video packages, which I fast-forwarded through because I've become familiar with all these folks, and it cut down my viewing by about 10-15 minutes. So, needless to say, in terms of running time with commercials, it's about 2 hours. For 4 matches is like your average takeover.
Yeah.
So not necessarily unwarranted. The only complaint that I would have is that the 205 Live feature match would have had an additional member of the UK roster on it instead of just Dan.
Just 205 Live plus Dan.
Yeah, that's what it was. And it's like, oh, I guess, are they putting Dan on 205 Live? That's, as opposed to looking at the UK, the future of the UK roster, that made me think of, oh, is he going to 205 Live instead?
Maybe.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing that I came out of.
I'm sure it'll be cleared up next week when 205 Live happens and he's there or he isn't there. But in the moment...
I mean instantly, but...
Yeah, but like in the moment, it's still like, I want to be worried about the UK people. It's the UK special.
Right.
So let's start us off. First off, to start us off, we got Jim Ross and Nigel McGuinness. This is Jim Ross coming back to the WWE Network. Last time we saw him was Undertaker's final WrestleMania match. Nigel McGuinness, of course, calls NXT, called the first United Kingdom tournament. How do we feel about Jim Ross calling the action here?
Why not? Why not? I mean, I think, as we all know, without JR, we wouldn't get that feeling through this special, in my opinion. I think that with his commentary, it gave me more into the matches and more into everything. And the crowd was pretty low at some points, but still JR did bring his old school style as well, which I really enjoyed.
I love this team. I like it for the fact that JR, and they balance each other out very well. There were several times where it seemed legitimately JR was wondering, well, tell me more about this guy. What is it about this area that he was brought up in? Why did he turn out the way he did? And it felt very natural. And if you don't know something, you ask somebody who knows a little bit more. So that I think brought Nigel up a little bit more, even though he's proved himself time and time again. But the only thing that bothered me is that JR kept calling Tyler Bates instead of Bate. But that's an easy mistake.
Well, he must have clearly seen Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Probably.
It's an obvious if you were to clone Tyler Bate, he could then compose Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
And Samurai Jack.
And Samurai Jack.
All right, we got that joke in.
Thank you.
Definitely got that joke.
I was working on that joke before we went on the air. I was happy we got it done. We opened the matchup with Wolfgang versus Joseph Connors. Wolfgang, the heaviest of the UK division. We'll call it the division.
Okay.
And then Joseph Connors, one of the more or less unsung heroes, I would say.
his match from the tournament, I would highly recommend you to go back and watch, because that was one of those matches where it could have gone either way. For this, Wolfgang was one of the guys that came out of the tournament sort of riding higher than others, but I'm very happy that the Joseph Connors that we see in this match is the one that we've come to know. Reckless, wild, and he was on display. He was like a hungry coyote. Once he found a bit that he could take advantage of, he kept knocking at it, throwing him into the post. But Wolfgang's just too big. He's literally just a bigger man.
I feel like Wolfgang in this match did a lot more into it. Like, I feel like I was more on his side opposed to like Joseph. I did like his style when he did it, and like, let's say he does the swanton bomb with his hurt armor. Like that is like really, really cool. And I just liked how he was more dominant in this match. So it gave me more of a feel like, okay, this guy has something.
That's definitely how I felt about Wolfgang this whole time, where and I think he's exactly where he needs to be on the, I don't want to say he, like, talk top guy or not top guy, whereas I would much rather him open a show and just tear the house down. Everyone was ready for this match. Everyone loved this match. And Wolfgang over. It was a nice, fun match. You can tell I'm stalling because the Wi-Fi's being weird. I'm just like...
But it's weird seeing from somebody so much smaller than him, Wolfgang, having to fight from below. And being able to fight through an injury, though, is one of the most important things when we talk about wrestling. So having... I don't... In terms of talking about top guys, Wolfgang is up there. The only person that he lost to in the tournament was the champion. So the guy who ended up becoming the champion. So that still leaves him, I think that puts him
in a
behind our number one contender match. I think that puts him right behind those guys.
And if I remember the dark matches because this is the second night of a UK tour specifically for UK Championship Live, the first night of which were just dark matches. And I'm sure he worked another match the night before.
He did. I'm trying to find who it was, but I do know that they've made the matches available kind of on WWE's YouTube channel.
Oh.
But not in their entirety. Just so you can kind of see a glimpse of what had happened.
Like the highlights or something?
Yeah.
And then especially because some of it played into later matches, that they did even show a clip.
Yeah, they showed a bit before the number one contendership match, but again, not too much. But let me try to find those while you vamp, or move on. Either or.
But yeah, Wolfgang over. Do we have anything else about Wolfgang in this match?
In the future, I do want to see him become champion,
or at least a high profile match for the championship.
Right.
I would like to see him get a shot at the championship, and I think giving him a win on a 4-match card, where only 3 of the matches are within the division, if you will, would be a true testament to he's one of the next people they're looking towards.
Yeah.
Forgive me for calling it incorrectly. They have the entire matches from the night before. It was actually Wolfgang versus Trent 7.
Got it.
And the winner got into the number one contendership match.
Okay.
And then it was Sam Gradwell versus Pete Dunn, which is a rematch from the tournament, and the winner got into the number one contendership match.
Perfect.
And we know how those turned out.
So that Wolfgang is in the top 5 contenders for the United Kingdom Championship. That's how that math works, I think.
Right.
Yes. Wrestling math.
Wrestling math I'm real good at. So now we're going to move on to the Cruiserweight division, where we got us a tag team match. That's my one.
Holler. Holler, holler.
Where was
Playa.
Dan Maloney, the Britishman, that's not how you would say it, and Rich Swann
That's how I would
versus
say it.
the Brian Kendrick and TJP. He's no longer TJ Perkins. 2 whole syllables, they had to lob off his name. This is a great match. I really enjoyed this.
I had fun watching this match, like them going back and forth with each other, and then like my favorite part was there's a lot of favorite parts of the match, but mainly was when TJ Perkins is like hitting like Brian on the rope, and they're like making fun of him, like, no, he's like right here.
Oh, that was beautiful.
Yeah.
Classic bit.
Yeah.
You rarely see that on TV. That's usually like a house show thing that they do. But I found this to be great for Dan, despite saying that I wish there was more WWE UK talent in there. This was amazing for Dan Maloney. He spent the most amount of time in the ring, and he learned with 3. They were putting him over on commentary. 3 veterans, 3 people who have been doing this for the longest amount of time, and Dan being 20, his big debut in the UK tournament featured some bits of him that likened him a little bit more to Rich Swann. So pairing him with Rich Swann, I think, was a great idea. He got a chance to show more personality, but I kind of wish he showed a little bit more. But that's just me.
Yeah, but also to come in there with 3 huge personalities like that.
You gotta fly with them, or else you'll be lost in the shuffle.
And I think he was showing a bit of personality, but I do think in order to stand out among those 3 guys, you would literally have to go over top of them. And I think that's if he's in a learning position, that might not be the smartest thing to do out of the gate.
I can see that.
But he could have tried.
Yeah.
And also with Dan's character, we're not quite sure exactly.
No, we don't. I'm pretty sure a lot of people in the UK know who he is, probably, but as we some of us probably don't know exactly who he is. So I think he's trying to figure out his character as well.
Well, that's the disparity. Is they made teases to his how he carried himself in the United Kingdom tournament, being a guy who shouldn't have seen the things that he's seen at his age, and they mentioned it on commentary again. But here's this guy still trying to have fun, have a good time, just trying to get Rich his glasses back. But I wish that we would have gone a little bit more the other way. But.
Or at least make a very clear turn.
Yes.
Where I don't.
Am I a good guy? Maybe.
I call it the Festus turn. A character can be one thing when they get to the ring, and then a completely different thing when the bell rings. They don't have to actually be Festus.
Yeah.
They don't actually have to make a full transformation as much as he can be this killer who's seen some things.
And if you don't know who Festus is, you'll be surprised.
Very true.
Former tag team champion.
Yeah.
But yeah, I enjoyed this match. I also think they did a great job, as we said, like putting Dan Maloney in a place alongside what you could argue were very WWE-ified characters.
3 former Cruiserweight champions. So that's matching him on the level of the winner of the Cruiserweight Classic tournament and 2 other former champions. That says a lot for what they think of Dan Maloney and where they want to go with him.
Very much. Whether that's 205 Live or the UK division or both.
I think he'll fit in the 205 Live.
Yeah, and I think 205 Live is. I think 205 Live could always use some more people kind of shuffling through.
Well, they need a little bit more people because.
Yeah. 205 Live tends to be the same 6 guys.
But I think they also need more variety. Like in the UK tournament, we have a variety of different styles, but a lot of the 205 Live are flippy-do guys, which, again, I'm not disparaging whatsoever, but let's get some more Drew Gulaks that are heavily technical, some more Brian Kendricks who are heavily technical, or just guys that will take you to the ground and beat the living hell out of you. And I think Dan Maloney can fit into that very well.
I agree. And Dan Maloney, Rich Swann over. Nice and fun. Did I get that wrong? I got that wrong.
You did.
All right.
It was a roll-up where they got the tights.
It was the tights.
TJ.
It's been a very heavy weekend of wrestling, I don't blame you.
So much wrestling this week.
Yes.
But yeah, they went over. Rich Swann, Dan Maloney unhappy, obviously.
A little bit.
But this was a fun match to watch, though.
Very fun match. Both a good centerpiece for the Cruiserweights and Dan Maloney. And I really wasn't high on the possibility of the stars of 205 Live and the United Kingdom Championship. And I'm like, oh no. Are they just going to have a bunch of 205 Live matches interspersed and like it won't feel right? Whereas what they did here felt correct. The crowd was hot for it. It was only one of the 4 matches.
My favorite chant of the night. TJ's a wanker.
Yep.
Oh
and JR on commentary. What's a wanker? Very inappropriate. Very inappropriate.
Oh man, that was like, okay.
Grandpa, no.
Okay.
No, Grandpa. Save search on.
You know what I'm surprised though? Like I'm not surprised, but what I think they should have done was bring in Dan Maloney, but also bring in another UK person.
UK under 205.
Yeah. And then see how that you know, that would work out, because that would be something I would be interested in too. I mean, we know who Rich Swann is, we know his style, but I want to see someone else's style as well.
Yeah. On that, I think we should move on to the next match.
Why not?
Because I think these final two matches are going to take up most of our time.
Sure. Because they took up most of the special anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have the number one contendership match between Pete Dunn and Trent Seven. Trent Seven, half of Mustache Mountain, alongside Tyler Bate. Pete Dunn comes out with his Progress title in his mouth.
As he do.
As he do, because, of course.
Gotta represent.
And they show us that match from the night prior, when it was Trent Seven and Wolfgang, and Wolfgang had hurt Trent Seven's arm. Or shoulder?
His right arm.
His right arm. And they told a great story of he's coming into this match hurt. How is that going to affect things?
I mean, the thing about Pete Dunne that we've come to learn over the past couple appearances is that if he puts his mind to something, he's gonna accomplish that goal no matter what it takes for him to do. And he said it himself after the match. But he, hell or high water, you got an injured arm, that's my ticket. I mean, he literally punched that ticket, kicked that ticket, bent and crooked that ticket. It was just disgusting.
Yeah.
Absolutely gross.
But hey, that's wrestling. If you have a bruised or a messed up arm, that's what they're gonna go after. And
Where would he fall on the D&D scale? I think that would be Chaotic Evil.
He's chaotic evil.
He's
100%.
100% Chaotic Evil, where he's unapologetically, I came here to win the match.
He's the type of person where I believe that he's someone that you love to hate. And with his attitude, I'm just like, ugh. But then again, you're so good in the ring. And I'm
Although
just
they
like,
seem
ugh.
to love him here.
Yeah, well, of course.
They seem to love him here in England, and they seem to really love him in Chicago.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
However...
That was also an NXT crowd.
Yeah. I'm from a city where they just boo... I'm from Philadelphia, where they're known for just booing the bad guy, so I'm used to that. But I do think, by and large, Pete Dunne, as a character, I just love. And I've loved since the tournament, because he just comes in as like, I came here to win. I don't care.
Right.
I don't care. I watched your arm get broke. You're holding it right now. I'm gonna go after your arm this entire match.
Yeah, and he did.
Yeah.
That was one of the things is I couldn't get behind Seven or rather I was really rooting for Seven early on because Dunn seemed to have it wrapped up, signed, sealed, delivered. He kept going after the arm. Seven didn't get any decent offense in until maybe 5-10 minutes into the match, where it was just a couple of slaps, a DDT, and a dive, and then he was back on the bottom again. He tried his damnedest, and for as large of a dude as he is, he should be able to just, like, Three Stooges style, just bop him on the head and knock him down, not to talk down to Pete Dunne and being diminutive or anything, but the fact that Dunn kept him in his control for as long as he did, essentially the entirety of the match, says something about Pete Dunne that can't be beat, really.
No. And it also says something about Trent Seven, that Trent Seven is just that good.
Oh, sure.
One-handed against easily one of the best people in his division.
Against the strike and stretch savage, Pete Dunne, yeah, he did as best as he could. Because not only does going after the arm it take away his striking ability for that 7-star lariat, but he couldn't really lift him either. Took away all of the sort of torque that you could get from lifting your arm. But Seven still did a hell of a job, stuck in there, and really the last half of the match showed why he was in this match.
Definitely.
Yeah, I would like to see a little bit more of Trent Seven as well, continuing forward. I feel like he has a tremendous amount of time to become champion, but like also I think I don't know, I just want to see him do more. I want to see him, and I think he's going to be a future champion as well.
I dig that. I definitely see a couple of these guys being future champions if they're not going the route of if they're not they don't seem to be going the dynasty route of our guy, we're building the whole thing around one guy who's the champion the whole time. They seem to be going the other way of make the champion make the person, make the championship make the person, and then move the championship to another person and let that make that person. Similar to what they're doing with the Cruiserweight Championship.
Yeah.
As we saw in that Cruiserweight match where there were 3 people none of whom had the Cruiserweight Championship, all of whom's characters were made by the Cruiserweight Championship, and then they relinquished it to someone else who could then continue to make people. So I could see that happening with Trent Seven.
Interesting strategy. I wonder if we're going to start seeing guys from the Performance Center start to show up on the UK scene instead of taking guys that are already on the UK scene, and how that would factor into working with the Progresses, the ICWs, what was it?
Oh, Evolve?
No, it's not Evolve. Rev Pro.
Yes.
But that's the thing what is the cycle that WWE is trying to make? We'll only find out in time.
And it is interesting because, I mean, we get a much clearer picture than we did at the end of the tournament, where they just crowned a champion, and we were like, and they're like, we don't know. I don't know. We have a champion now.
Oh, no, I definitely have a theory on that based on all of their art and promotional stuff that they made for this. The fact that the splash on the what is it? The Titantron was yellow and black.
Ooh.
The fact that the apron was yellow and black.
Ooh.
I think that this is going to be NXT UK. I don't think it's going to be its own brand. I think they're going to expand the NXT brand. They're already using all of those people on NXT, and it then further strengthens that this isn't developmental. This isn't just developmental. This is its own brand, and that takes it. And because Raw and SmackDown, they already go across the pond. They already go to this, there, and all the other place. NXT kind of doing that, but then this adds a little bit extra sizzle on top.
I actually like that a lot.
I think that's where we're going. So, and that adds another championship. While not necessarily like a quote mid-card championship like an Intercontinental or United States championship, but just a different division of the same stuff.
I like that.
But also, like, Regal's involved. Like, this is Regal's baby.
Yeah.
Regal's the general manager of NXT. Right. If we're coming from TV land, natural thing would be like, well, let's make this the same thing so that I'm in charge of both.
And let's make this the NXT United Kingdom show.
Yeah.
Whether it's a monthly show on the WWE Network or it's a weekly show or a traveling brand in the United Kingdom, I actually like this because if you put the NXT brand on it,
people are going to want to watch.
And NXT guys could show up.
That's both.
Yeah.
It's both because we've the weirdest thing, but the coolest thing is we had a 205 Live competitor and a WWE United Kingdom and the United Kingdom champion face off on NXT TV, which is one of those things where it's like, okay, we're already sharing 205 Live competitors with NXT, but that has its own brand. Also, depending on how they feel the strength of the 205 Live brand is right now, pairing the UK guys with an already successful thing probably already does them a lot more favors than starting their own thing. Then people go, oh, this is just NXT as well. And that also can either extend NXT's running time per week, give them a half an hour where it's like, let's go across the pond where we had this match featured by special thanks to Progress Wrestling for having Wolfgang versus Mark Andrews or whatever.
Yeah.
And then that does the company that is hosting you well, you feature them on the network and it keeps the names around instead of just like, okay, well, we'll fly you to Florida every couple weeks and have a title match.
Or also, like, you'll come to WrestleMania and we'll make sure we put you on the stage at one point during a TV taping and give you a half a segment.
Something like that.
Like, everything like that. I think that does make the most sense. And then I'm thinking a touring brand, whereas you're right, they have a good enough partnership with all the promotions in the United Kingdom that they're already taping them, and it's, hey, any of our guys, can you send us the tape? Or we'll come and tape it for you, but you run the show.
Something like that.
Yeah, you run the show, we come and tape our guys' matches, and then we use them when we see fit.
And I mean, the fact that we already have the partnerships with these guys with these brands for video, for even just having their guys compete on WWE TV, and then returning that by having Pete Dunne come out with the Progress Championship, shows that there is a bit of an alliance there. And it's probably going to go the next step, and I think the next step is NXT.
That's some great ideas.
Or it could always, or the inverse is also true, that I think I initially had a plan that they're going to stick with 205 Live through to another cruiserweight tournament, if only to say that 205 Live was successful through to another cruiserweight tournament. But after that, they may retool 205 Live to be WWE Worldwide or WWE Network Worldwide or WWE Network Live. And then have, similar to what you're saying, where it's matches from around the place, around the world, all our cool guys, that you would send the Cruiserweight guys over to Progress, you would send the UK guys over to Progress, you would tape a cool tag match in NXT Cocoa Beach, NXT Riverside, NXT Anywhere, and then you would just have kind of a compilation weekly show of just matches from all over that are otherwise just live matches.
And that takes away the having to shoot 205 Live after SmackDown, and they can shoot stuff before.
Exactly.
Smart.
Yeah, and then you can shoot maybe if there's a match you want on that show, you could literally shoot it that night and then air it later, but you would shoot it before so SmackDown can have those big money dark matches that a brand like SmackDown really, really wants to have. They really, really want to say Randy Orton, Jinder Mahal is the main event of this SmackDown, just not on TV. Bad example. Or Randy Orton versus AJ Styles would be the kind of dark match they want to advertise to make sure everyone comes and sees the show and then just promote it on the commercials.
I like that idea.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think in the comments down below.
Yes, absolutely. And let's move on to the first of 2 United Kingdom Championship matches this weekend. This will be the one we're covering. When is TakeOver being covered?
Wednesday, 4 p.m. on AfterBuzz TV.
Wednesday at 4 p.m. As we know, because Trent Seven did not win, it will be Pete Dunne versus the winner of this match in NXT TakeOver, which will be covered at NXT TakeOver.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Thanks for the plug.
But this was Mark Andrews versus Tyler Bate for the United Kingdom Championship. There's been some talk recently of how often Tyler Bate has defended the United Kingdom Championship. I think I counted it up. If it were televised, there were 4.
Televised, there were 4. But untelevised, I think there was 2 or 3 more.
Untelevised, like completely untelevised, there were probably 3 more. And then if you're talking just like regular shows, there's probably another. I don't know. We'll go with 2 or 3 more. I was there for one at Access.
Oh yeah, that's right. He defended it every day at Access, but there are also 2 or 3 shows overseas that he did as well.
But what I'm saying is that there's been talk that, like, oh, he's had an unimpressive championship run. And I'm like, first off, he's 19. He's the second person to ever win a world championship as a teenager, the other person being Rene Dupree.
Yeah.
That's not quite a name drop, but still impressive nonetheless.
It's a drop in the bucket. But no offense, Rene Dupree. Please don't beat us up. But the thing about Tyler Bate is they didn't have a brand set up. You know? With the Cruiserweights, they went, oh, by the way, we also have a show, or they're coming to Raw, and then we have a show, so they will have a place to live. These guys didn't have a place to live on WWE programming, so this is the first time on its own branding that he's defended the title. Otherwise, it's been just NXT. So, because never mind. But that's the thing is, quote, unimpressive. The man's been wrestling throughout the time. And it matches sort of what happens on WWE TV. If you count up the days versus how many title defenses, that's more than some champions have done. Like it's probably more than Brock Lesnar will do throughout the end of his run.
It's probably double the ratio of a Brock Lesnar,
if not more. Goodness.
I think they're just not talking about that 30-day rule when it comes to Brock Lesnar. They're just like, nope, he's Brock Lesnar.
He has a special contract. Maria Annette in chat is saying that Bate defends it more than Orton, Lesnar, and Ambrose combined.
That makes sense.
So far, yeah.
Yeah.
Why not? I really, really enjoy this match. I loved how it was how the crowd was like British style wrestling. Ooh. And that made me realize, oh my God, where have I been? Like,
Then you definitely need to go back and watch the UK tournament.
No, seriously, because I did on my spare time about a few months ago, I did watch Progress Wrestling documentary, and that got me hooked into watching it and to seeing how so many guys that we see now come from that brand. Like, I really love the British style wrestling. I love the technical of it. It's different. It's new. It's not always high flying, but they always bring a little mix into it of like today, like. Tyler Bate, I think he dominated this match, but also Mark did bring a little bit high-flying little moments. So this got me, I was, so hooked.
And we mentioned it on the after show for the tournament, but why does anybody go for a vertical suplex on Mark Andrews? Everybody goes for it, and he puts it into the Stun Dog Millionaire every time.
Just stop.
This will be different.
Just stop doing this to Mark Andrews.
One of my favorite things, Tyler Bate went straight for his legs. He just seems like a gimme your legs type of guy. But as much as I do like the strong, well, not the strong style, but the technical style that we're a little bit more familiar with the UK, Mark Andrews didn't need to prove that. He needed to gain the advantage early on against a guy that is much stronger than him. He needed to start flying immediately, but it took till like the second half of the match until he really started to get it going. I'm surprised he didn't just shotgun out of the gate. And I think it did him an ultimate disservice.
I think he was maybe he was falling into the idea of like what this brand or division should be instead of like who's Mark Andrews.
Right.
Because Mark Andrews would fly out of the gate.
He's got airplanes on his knee pads.
I mean, we saw it. He was like on the Tom Turnbuckle, and he did a freaking Hurricanrana, like flip in the back, and then he did the DDP, and then the apron. I'm just like, oh my god, this was cool.
He diamond cutter. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing is the fact that he seemingly waited until the end to bust out that stuff that was getting him the 2 3/4, the 2 5/6, the 2 7/8. It just kept getting closer and closer to the ground for the 3. You got to pull that stuff out right out of the gate to just keep Bate guessing.
Also, the 2 lightest members of this division. In order, Tyler Bate, then Mark Andrews.
That's the thing about Bate too, is he usually, as they mentioned on commentary, he usually gives up a lot of size to his competitors, and he used it he used that advantage throughout the entire match, and Andrews didn't. I want to go into a match thinking, oh, he can totally do it, and from what we've seen of Mark Andrews before, I was like, cool, this is going to be a great match, and it was a great match. But you gotta start out strong, or else you can't end strong.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, Taylor Bate obviously dominated this match because Mark wasn't giving the hits like Mark right here was saying.
Different one.
Yeah.
Wait, you're not Mark Andrews? I'm.
Surprise! You didn't recognize my Welsh accent?
And you're not Tyler Bate?
I'm not Tyler Bate.
Oh, okay.
I don't know who told you that.
Oh, sorry. But yeah, and I also liked how they mentioned on commentary how Tyler's kind of like a young Fit Finley. That's how
that was the comparison they made. I buy it.
Yeah, the comparison to that, which was a little different. I was like, oh, okay. So other than that, this match was really cool to watch, and I enjoyed it.
They gave it plenty of time.
Oh, they gave it.
You're usually a fan of run times. Did you have it for this one?
Wi-Fi problems.
Okay.
I would.
Okay. Just because when they started coming out, there's about 35-40 minutes left in the broadcast. And it's like, oh, what is all right? A good 25 minutes. And one of my favorite things that there's only been 2 broadcasts, but of the UK stuff is there aren't commercial breaks. It's, hey, here's wrestling, and the only breaks that they took were take a look at these other wrestlers that are about to wrestle. So
they had some in between match,
but not during the match.
Yeah, and WWE Network commercials. It would be pretty weird. It would be pretty weird for them to stop a match to have a commercial for the WWE Network, the thing we're all paying for.
But that's what they did during Gallagher and Bate on NXT, because it was an NXT broadcast. So
I think they sell NXT to Hulu or international markets. So there's a reason NXT has certain commercial breaks that this show wouldn't, or a pay-per-view wouldn't.
This is just network. That's a good point. It's on TV in other countries. We only have a digital.
Whereas if it's solely on the WWE Network, they don't worry about commercial breaks. Whereas even if they plan on the thing being sold to other platforms, if you will, they'll make commercial breaks.
Fair.
And then just it could be nothing. It could be those really old commercials they show you while you're at a live event. Because they have you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Download WWE Immortals.
While you're here. Hey, man. You remind me, I got to log in today.
I was top of the country at WWE Immortals when it first came out.
Bless you, Steve.
That was not a joke.
Bless you.
It's okay.
Hold on. All right, there. Gotcha.
Thank you. I needed that.
You're welcome.
But these two had a great match, and I can honestly say I suspended disbelief, knowing full well the card for NXT TakeOver Chicago. And it's not like this was something you would only find if you looked on the Wikipedia or online or these taping results. Like, they advertised on NXT this previous week.
They did.
That this Sunday it'll be current WWE UK champion Tyler Bate versus #1 contender Pete Dunne, which spoils 2 of the 4 matches we want you to watch Friday at noon. Didn't matter to me.
No, me either.
Yeah.
Like-
No, it didn't, because I'm like, okay, cool. So now I'm thinking, okay, why is he the number 1 contender? I want to see what this guy, how the match went. I want to see how the match went. Like, did it go? Obviously, it went well for him. But
Did he attack Trent? Did he attack? Did he
Take
attack?
3.
Did he attack Trent 7?
No.
Did he follow his regular MO? Like, did he come out and attack Tyler Bate? Like, all the regular stuff. Tyler
Almost
Bate
did.
goes over with the Tyler Driver 97. Mark Andrews loses. Obviously, that's what happens when Tyler Bate goes over.
Yeah.
Pete Dunne comes out, and they have this very iconic photo where William Regal goes out of his way to get in Pete Dunne's way of saying, "You will not." And I do like how, on TV in general, everyone respects William Regal enough to not try to fight him to get in, to fight someone
Well,
else.
Dunn barely does.
I want to see that.
Because of his actions that we saw in United Kingdom tournament, he barely has the respect. There might even be a little bit of, maybe not fear, but there might be a little bit of reticence to be like, all right, I don't want to mess with the guy that's running through the whole thing.
Yeah.
He's threatened to, like, kick me out before, and H isn't here to bail me out.
Yeah,
Maybe it was a strategic decision to be like, all right, maybe I won't do it this time.
very true.
And then when he pulls out the handshake, like, when you watch William Regal, he's, like, staring at him, like, I'm waiting for you to do something. I'm waiting.
Like, that picture Friday heading into Saturday was very iconic for this match. With Regal in the background, them in the foreground. Tyler Bate offering a handshake, or sorry, Pete Dunne
Yeah.
offering a handshake. Tyler Bate not taking it.
No.
Dastardly. Here's Pete Dunne trying to be a nice guy. Just be a nice guy back. It's simple.
Well,
Yeah, but the way he's been acting, who wants to shake his hand?
yeah, the way, and Pete Dunne's MO is like, why would you get close? Why would you give him a hand? Why would you do any of that if it's they?
Probably would have stretched it back. Maybe.
Also, to your point, I'm now remembering Pete Dunne walked out in that moment wearing an NXT tap out jacket.
That was another thing that made me go, all right, probably
That's-
a little bit more.
This NXT UK is starting to, this NXT UK theory is starting to really settle in, because that makes the most sense.
And WWE just changed all of the NXT belts. They just updated all of the graphics, all of the looks for everything, and that look matches what was in the background for the UK tournament. Or for the UK special, excuse me.
Man. I'm okay with that, but then
You can send my check to the AFTERBUZZ TV studios. That'd be great. Thank you.
you say sign your check or send? Send. You need to be very close.
Send my check.
As your legal representative, I want, as your
Thank you.
as your advocate who will be taking a percentage,
Damn it.
you need to make your words very
I
clear.
need to watch that. I need to watch them contracts a little bit more.
You should really.
Read every word.
Wait, you read that contract? Damn it!
I told you it was a good contract. You signed it.
Yeah, well, that was a good contract for you. These guys must have been jet lagged on Saturday when they made it to Chicago
I know, right?
to fight when you're all jet lagged like that. That's just terrible.
I do
Yeah.
appreciate that they just ignored that in Chicago. Like, they didn't play that up. Like, oh, these guys must be jet lagged or this or that. It was just,
Right.
yeah, on a special that aired yesterday. We're not gonna lie to you.
Yeah, and I think, come on, like, we
Well, on the show, JR was like, tomorrow at NXT Chicago.
Well, that's one that, like, he's not wrong. And do we know if they actually traveled there? Like, I know we got that.
They did.
Okay.
Yeah,
'cause
JR
we got,
was there.
Okay, because we got that stand-up shot, and because the report I read from the first night was that neither of them were there. But
For the first night, no, but for the TV
sec-
night.
yeah, they actually came there. They flew out there just to call it.
Wow.
Well, and WWE was already out there,
yeah.
but yeah,
And JR's not on a full schedule, so whatever.
yeah, fly him out to
It's
wherever.
probably like on a Legends contract or something.
I think a step above a Legends because you can do a Legends contract and only do like 5 days. Whereas I'm sure he's a little higher than that. He's on a JR contract,
Oh, okay. Are
which
you
is
his,
still not nearly as good as a Brock Lesnar.
Not a
contract.
junior contract, a JR contract.
JR.
That was dumb.
So final thoughts about the United Kingdom Championship special, but also the United Kingdom division possibly joining the NXT and anything moving forward.
Yeah, if they're not going to make it its own brand, just might as well just put it with NXT. And if they do that with NXT, I want to see other people from an NXT brand try and get the UK championship as well.
Or at the very least, intermingle with those guys.
Yeah.
In the United Kingdom and in the 3 or 4 companies they're working with the United Kingdom, that it wouldn't be ridiculous for an NXT guy like Eric Young to come in and work a Night in Progress.
Because if they do, regardless, they need to, once it becomes a regular show, they need to establish rules for the championship. Like, you can only win the championship if you are from countries in the United Kingdom.
Or you can only win the championship if you go to those countries and fight for it.
Then it just becomes the European Championship. I think keeping it as people from those countries, that at least opens up at the very least Neville, you know, and Jack Gallagher.
Yeah.
So there are various people that they could be bringing in for all of these tournaments that can now qualify for that championship as well.
I agree there need to be rules, and I think maybe way down the line if you want to get more ubiquitous, you would eventually, like, oh well, it happened in England.
Look, because it's not the United Kingdom World Championship; it's the United Kingdom Championship.
Or they could just keep it as their own brand, like with NXT, and just obviously have Regal, Regal control it like Hunter controls NXT, and just keep it like that, and then they just travel to different areas to do specials, or
Although I feel like aside from the specials, they would, aside from a special while the WWE's already in the UK, I think the low overhead of this would be, we already make an NXT show. Why don't we just tape matches at other shows that are already happening in the UK and then air those matches?
Because during the Dusty tournament, they shot matches throughout the country as they were touring.
Right.
And there were single episodes where it was like, this tag match happened in San Jose. This tag team match happened in LA. And it was all just on one show with somebody introducing it before and after.
Because then, and I could see that totally working. I could also see them either jumping right in or building up to a show, as I mentioned, that just does that.
Nigel's already on the NXT call team. So he's already calling the matches as it is.
So, yeah, this all seems very likely that we have a very well-laid plan versus the end of the tournament.
Maria Annette points out in chat, again, thank you everybody who's joining us live in chat. We're live. McIntyre, Neville,
Yes.
Sheamus, Balor, Gallagher. Though, isn't it only Northern Ireland that's a part of the UK?
No, well, if you go by the tournament, both Northern Ireland and Ireland were included in the Jordan Devlin was regular Ireland.
That's right.
Jordan Devlin was not Northern Ireland.
Standard Ireland,
Yes.
I believe they call it. That's not what they call it. But, yeah, that's already... I mean, Sheamus, former WWE champion, former world champion, would be huge to enter that division.
Yeah.
Literally a lot bigger than all of those men.
Quite literally on size.
Yes.
And a big foot.
But when we talk about rules, the fun thing about rules in wrestling is we only think if you present it correctly, we only think what you want us to think. So they may not even need to have rules if the matches are only ever between, or the intent is only ever between people who are from the United Kingdom. Or that it happens in the United... Like, they can internally have rules that they just never tell us. Which would make just as much sense to me that it would... So that if Eric Young just decides to be an anarchist, he's my example of the moment, and was like, I want to go after the UK tournament, the UK title. They wouldn't write that. They would just know internally, nope, that doesn't make any sense. He's American. Don't do it.
Right.
So,
Yeah. We'll never know until they tell us.
Yep.
absolutely. Speaking of telling us, Mark, where can the people tell you how they feel on the Twitter?
You can tell me how you feel shouting at me walking along the street. You can also find me on Twitter at Mark B. Donica. I am also one of the hosts of the NXT After Show here. Wednesday, we're doing a double dose of NXT. We're going to be doing a TakeOver at 4 and our regular show at 6. huge show to talk about, including the United Kingdom Championship match that was set up by this very show. So make sure to go there. Also make sure to follow all of our other wrestling programming, Xbox 12360 on Wednesdays, and Making Their Way to the Ring with Lillian Garcia on Mondays. Thank you so much for watching. We also have our Backlash show tonight, which we're going to talk more about, and then Raw on Monday, SmackDown on Tuesday, and coming back soon, Lucha Underground on Thursdays.
Woo!
Wow, that's a lot. And I will be actually watching that NXT after show, of course.
Yeah!
I was so excited to watch it last night. It was such a, oh my gosh, great moments. You guys can find me at Anissa Barr with 3 R's. I am Anissa Barr, so follow me, tweet me, Instagram me. Let's be friends.
All the things. And you guys, as always, can find me on Twitter at Steve Kaufmann. That is Kaufmann. I'm doing 2 more shows tonight. HBO's The Leftovers, which is going to be kind of depressing. Then WWE Backlash, which is going to be awesome. And then tomorrow night I'll be doing Gotham and Better Call Saul. Cash me outside for all those things. Cash me inside? I'm working on some stuff, guys.
Buzz me inside.
Buzz me inside, yo.
That was bad, too. That was me. I'm sorry.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later!
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.